Do excuse me. You caught me as I was just leaving. My shop is closed at this hour, so if you're interested in any wares, I recommend returning tomorrow morning. Goodness. Is that you, Pumpkin? I haven't seen you since... Well, it's been almost a year now, hasn't it? Certainly has flown by. Have you been well? You're doing better, slowly but surely. I'm glad to hear it. I'm sure it hasn't been easy for you, sweet thing. I may not know the specifics of what you've dealt with, but the first year after a loss is always the hardest. Yet here you are, standing in front of me with color in your cheeks. Persevered despite everything. So for that alone, I am very proud of you. And I'm relieved that you don't seem to resent me for anything I said at the time. Well, that's quite kind of you, but there's no need to apologize for not coming to see me sooner. After existing for a few centuries, one singular year is practically no time at all. Besides, you were never obligated to return here or to seek me out again. Chin up, dear. I won't have you berating yourself or stewing in regret. Oh, no, you didn't catch me at a bad time, per se. Oh, the shop is closed for tonight. But if there was anything you wanted to buy, I suppose I could make a quick exception for you. You just wanted to check in, see how I'm doing, is that it? That's sweet of you. I'm as well as I can be. I don't know if I spoke of it to you before, but around this time of year, the non-magicals get particularly wary of the practicing witch selling her wares on the outskirts of town. Sometimes the youths take it upon themselves to confront, in their own way, what they do not understand. Earlier today, I returned from visiting one of my former coven members by the seaside, and came face to face with a few young men who had thrown a rock through my storefront window. Oh, they fled in terror as soon as I appeared. No, there is no need for me to reach out to non-magical authorities. For one thing, that's a complexity I don't care to deal with. For another, they would most likely not give me the time of day. You are a rarity in that you do not mistrust me as your people do, and my words would not come across to them as credible. Besides, these children's actions are born from ignorance and fear, nothing more. This isn't the first time something like this has happened, and it certainly won't be the last. You are outraged on my behalf. I understand. To you, it must seem like I am enabling this behavior by not seeking for them to be punished. I have lived a long time, and I yearn for a quiet, peaceful existence. I would much rather avoid anything that could start a witch hunt, for lack of a better term. Perhaps to you this may seem like I'm passively allowing myself to be walked all over. But from my perspective, I choose my battles, and this is not one I have deemed worth the fight. In the grand scheme of things, this was harmless. The window was easily fixed with magic, and chances are they will be too nervous to return. On the off chance they do try to come back here, they'll find that they inexplicably cannot seem to find their way through the woods. So you see, I am capable of handling this in my own way, and thus am able to retain my peace. The only truly unfortunate result of this, while the window was repaired smoothly, the rock that was thrown inside knocked down some of the bottled potions on the display shelf, shattering them in the process. A mild inconvenience, These particular potions don't take more than a few days to brew. It could have been worse. You caught me as I was about to head into the meadow behind my home to collect the flowers needed for concocting replacements. Would you care to join me, actually? I could use the company. Wonderful. Yes, this meadow doesn't serve as merely aesthetics, although it certainly paints a lovely backdrop for my home. This meadow, you see, was cultivated with magic. Before I set up my shop here, it used to be an empty field of grass. I was still a member of my old coven when I decided to open a store here. Before they excommunicated me, I enlisted the help of a coven sister with an affinity for earth magic to enchant this spot of land, so that all the plant life I need for potion brewing would grow in abundance here. No, we do not speak anymore. She is a stickler to coven rules, at least she was, so I do not fault her for her avoidance. Indeed, I think if she had known my intentions to sell the potions I made from this meadow to the non-magicals, she would not have been so happy to help. Perhaps she still harbors resentment that I only told her a partial truth when enlisting her aid, and, well, I can't blame her for that either. She did not defend me during my trial, but, well, I wasn't going to ask that of her. If anything, I am grateful that she seemed to have told no one of the part she played in aiding my deceitful endeavor, and I, of course, made no mention of her assistance either during my trial way back when. I wasn't about to drag her down with me, no, not when she loved the coven more than anything else, more even than... But yes, all that taken into account, this is a very special meadow. Come along, dear. The exact flowers I need should be just around here. Wither stem, crimson ferns. Here we are. A smattering of mellow brush. Have you ever seen this plant before? No? Well, it's quite unassuming in the daytime, easy to mistake as nothing but small vegetation. But at night, under the light of the moon, the inconspicuous buds open, and the silver flowers within burst forth like this, extending their faces longingly to the sky. Yes, they're quite lovely. Mellowbrush has always been a favorite of mine for this reason. You can help me collect the flowers too if you'd like. Don't worry, the magic here means they'll grow back quickly. You'll be met with a bit of resistance, but the trick is to pinch the base of the flower and twist slightly before you pluck them off the stems. Like so. Lovely, you're natural. After this, these flowers will journey to my workbench, where I'll rinse them in warm water before crushing the petals into paste, or then combine them with the other ingredients, of course. I realize I did not specify which stalk exactly was shattered by the mischievous youths. They were potions for unearthing memories. Not an oft-used potion, as buried memories are typically buried for a reason. But there are times when there is cause for them to see the light of day again. And this particular potion makes the process infinitely easier. Yes, I'm all right. I usually am alone when I come here to collect my ingredients. It has been many years since another person accompanied me here, since since I stood under the moonlight with another body so close to mine. I suppose I do not need a potion to unearth any of my memories, if the simple sensation of companionship is what brings them to the surface. My coven sister I mentioned earlier, the one who helped me create this meadow back when your town was just in its initial stages of formation, had not even yet been named. She and I would spend a lot of time here. We were quite young then, of course. Well, not children, not at all, but witches in their prime, brimming with fervor and wonder. Aside from collecting ingredients, we would show off our magic to each other here. She typically was much flashier than I. We would make each other flower crowns and lay among the flowers, talking for hours, all through the night. I remember she practically shone in the moonlight, her smile captivating me and tethering me to her presence. And eventually, I haven't thought about this in quite a long time. In fact, I didn't tell you about her last year because, well, my feelings about her had become so entangled with my feelings in regard to my banishment. The thought of her feels bittersweet now. It's been so long that I don't find the memories I pushed aside to bring me pain, but they do make me wonder how she is doing. I'm sure she is quite well and powerful. The High Witch of our coven passed on last I heard. No one has breathed a word to me about who replaced her. Perhaps my old friend is even the new High Witch. Her magic was certainly strong enough for her to be recognized as so if it came to a vote. I'm sure regardless, she does not think of me beyond a passing recollection of memory. Oh, Pumpkin. I know you feel like you don't have the right words to say, but just you holding my hand and encouraging smile on your pretty face is enough. I would not even say I'm upset, not really. Just, well, after such a vast amount of time, I suppose I didn't really consider that a moment like this would make me recall her and miss her all over again. My distress over what happened with my excommunication and her turning her back on me is more of a simmer now, practically intangible, but, well, it's as I've said before, you never truly forget, I suppose, even when the past fades and you stop crying and dwelling on it. Some may find that disheartening, but for me, I find that it's quite comforting to know that I've lived as long as I have and can still remember things about her, about loving her that I thought were long gone. That is actually quite a wise thing for you to say. That this meadow does not have to possess only memories of her, but can contain memories of others as well, if I allow it to. New memories, just as sweet, but without the lingering bitter taste. Look at you, giving me advice. How the tables have turned. So, you're saying you want to be a part of my memories here, is that it? Well, it's certainly a lovely new memory, sitting and talking here with you. Oh, that's not only what you mean. I comforted you once before with my words and my touch, and now you would like to comfort me in turn. You don't mean here. I never really considered doing anything like that again, out here under the moonlight. I wouldn't be opposed to such an encounter, not with you. Oh, but you don't have to, really. You owe me nothing, especially after all this time. Well, if you truly want to, then I am content to accept your offer. Well then, come here. Lay here beside me, and allow me to bear myself to you in this sea of flowers.